skills. He's got the standard rogue skills, it looks like. We got disabled device is high, hide is high, a fair amount in listen, 10 and move silently, a good high open lock, a decent amount in search, a high set trap, decent amount in sleight of hand, and spot, and tumble, and use magic device. So your general rogue skills. And feats, he has dodge. Let's see, gives a character a +1 dodge bonus to armor class, attacks from his current target or last attacker. Mobility, has learned to avoid attacks of opportunity more effectively, gaining a +4 dodge bonus to armor class against them. And he's got a weapon focus in short sword. And of course we have the standard feats for a rogue. Light armor proficiency, rogue weapons, and simple weapons. Quick to master and skilled, of course, for being human. He's got evasion, which is a class skill. Let's see, whenever the reflex save is allowed for half damage, the character instead takes no damage if he succeeds at the save. Sneak attack damage plus 2d6, trap sense plus 1, trap finding, and uncanny dodge. The character retains his dex bonus to armor class, even if caught flat-footed or attacked by a hidden or invisible creature. So, trap finding. Let's see, rogues are the only character class that can use this disabled device skill to overcome traps with a DC of 20 or more. Okay, so. Alright, so let's see. I'm going to sort out some of my gear here because I do have some of this equipment from before that I'm going to pass off to Roman and get him a couple magic items because I can see. Let's see, Roman's hat, what does this do? Armor bonus versus lawful. Improved saving throws universal +1 and bonus to hide, move silently, open lock, and tumble. But other than that, he's just got standard equipment. So I'm going to give some of this equipment that I got and I'm going to pass it over to him. So I'll cut all that out. So stay with me, folks. Okay, so I sorted out some of the equipment here just to do a quick rundown so everybody knows what I got. Like I said, I had a lot of equipment from previous mods that I was using this character for that I was playing with. So let's see, Peldor of Rome, I got this beetle skull cap here, which gives me an intelligence bonus +2, immunity mind affecting spells, and a bonus to concentration. It's a little bit, I think it's a little bit overpowering, but I think we'll be alright with that. In addition, I have a cloak of resistance, which gives me a universal saving throw bonus +1. I have these ironweed robes that I'm wearing, gives me a bonus spell slot plus a damage reduction 3. And have some braziers of armor +2, a belt of agility +2, increases dexterity +2, and gives me freedom of movement, thus increasing my dexterity to 16. And have boots of hardiness +1, which gives me a dodge modifier and a constitution bonus of 1. So now down here to the trinkets, I have an amulet of natural armor +1. I have a ring of wizardry, gives me a bonus first level spell, and I have this ring of fortitude +1. So that counteracts that wizard's apprentice penalty I had with fortitude. So, which is, let's see. Where is it? Yeah, Wizard's Apprentice. Yeah, it gives me a -1 Fortitude save, so that ring will counteract that. So I got relatively decent saves. Some decent potions, a couple extra scrolls. I do have a wand of fire with 1 charge left on it, and a wand of missiles with 43 charges. I have a quarterstaff +2, and I have a heavy crossbow with no magical bonuses at all. I have my lockpicking hamster, which allows me to cast a knock spell once a day. And I have this glowing crystal, which gives me a +5 bonus to hit points. And I had some extra equipment that I gave to Roman here, since he did have weapon focus with short sword. I just happen to have a short sword +1 in my bag of holding, which Peldor has a bag of holding right here. I had a couple items in that I forgot about. So I gave that short sword +1 to Vroman. And in addition to that, I had a suit of studded leather +1 in my bag holding, which I also gave to Vroman. Everything else is his, except for this ring of protection, which I also passed over to here. So gives him a +1 deflection bonus. So there we are with equipment. Now I have not bought or sold anything yet, so I haven't talked to any of these people, so we're gonna continue on with this, doing that. So. Okay, so I guess we'll start with the bartender, Danmar Braceley. He speaks to Vroman. Once again, young sir, I am sorry to hear for your loss. Now, what can I do for you, lad? Can you tell me more about this Sunite paladin? Eanth arrived in drawn swords nigh 1 year ago. It's sad that the Flame Stone brought her here. It brings many Sunites to the area, but unlike the rest of them, she hasn't left. What is the Flame Stone? It's a standing stone not far from drawn swords, on the edge of the North Dark Wood. It is a holy site for those who worship the goddess of love. It is said that when those who love deeply approach the stone, it leaps into flame. So Eanth acts as the town's protector? Well, not in any official capacity. Hamfast and I are glad to have her around, but the rest of the townsfolk don't like her high-handed manner. She's from Tetherian nobility, you know. I'd like to ask you something else. What is the latest news in these parts? What isn't news is a better question. In a place like this, you take what you can get, whether it be harvest reports from the lowlands or how fast the river's flowing. But I take it that sort of thing doesn't interest you. Trouble is always brewing in the realms, you know. But it seems that this time trouble is brewing a little too close to home for my comfort. What do you mean? I hear that the orcs of the Sunset Mountains are in the move, always a bad sign. But it's not because they're rallying for some new bloody but ultimately foolish cause. They're moving out of the mountains in droves, as if in flight. Why? Wouldn't we all like to know? Now, do you want more gossip, or are you thirsty? Tell me a bit about the folk of drawn swords. Well, for one thing, you can see a good portion of them just by looking around this room. We're a small settlement, and the folk here are mostly hardy hunters and their families. Who are those 3 men in dark blue cloaks over there? Who's he referring to? Oh, those idlers call themselves Sairn's Sharp Swords. They used to do fairly good work as volunteer guardsmen for drawn swords, but nowadays they sit around and swap tails. Where did they get that name? Sairn was a great warrior and hunter. Hamfast's great uncle, in fact. He defended a town against many enemies, including hobgoblins. He lost his life to them about 40 years ago. He organized a small force of townsfolk. The name lives on in those braggarts. His legacy proper lives on in Hamfast. Tell me more about Hamfast. He's a good patient man, and the leader of the drawn swords, though I would be pretendingly modest if I didn't claim to help out with some matters. He will not be unhappy when he gets too old to lead, unless he happens to lose his skill at the forge at the same time. Tell me about yourself, Danmar. There's not much to say. So let's see, I got a couple diplomacy options here. Let's go nonsense. The fact that you have kept such a fine inn running in this out-of-the-way place says much by itself, and I'd like to hear more. 100 experience points for that. I am of Berdusk originally, though I have traveled much. I have traversed a good portion of ground between Athkatla and Silverymoon. Drawn Sword is my home now. Even if I wanted to leave, I'm sure Hamfast wouldn't let me. Let's see what he has to drink. This is an Elverquist, 208 gold. It's actually a Cure Moderate Wounds potion. Has a Cure Moderate Wounds action or property. So the rest of these, I'm sure, are just regular spirits of alcohol. Quite a big list though to choose from. So that's all he's got. Let's see, how much was a room? 5 gold pieces. Let's see, if you get a room, you have an option to do 4 hours sleep, 8 hours sleep, wake me at dusk, wake me in the morning, and of course, never mind. Alright, so farewell to him. Let's see. Hollis, a trader. Nothing spectacular to say. Uvidal, a traveler. Nothing spectacular. Weisenbreck, a drunk. Esbolus, a wandering prophet. Nothing spectacular to say. Cornish. Vernus, a hunter. Rufus, another hunter. Nothing spectacular. Deluthalus, a guard. Greetings, I am Deluthalus, a guard for the Sword and Dragon Inn. What can I do for you? You are new here and an adventurer, so I suppose you are full of questions. What brings you here? This inn makes drawn swords something of a diamond in the rough. The rough that is the Blacklands. It is a free settlement and a safe haven, and we elves have an interest in keeping it that way. What can you tell me of this region? The area is very wild. Drawn Swords is an outpost. The land between here and Everesca is dangerous, vast, and largely untraveled. To the southwest, an older land is, on the other hand, is Northdark, the wood. The wood, too, is dangerous, but not so wild as the Backlands. Travelers between Drawn Swords and Sunset Vale use roads that run through the less densely overgrown parts. The elves of Everesca call Northdark Reluvethel's wood. Reluvethel was a ranger who hunted orcs and trolls in this region many years ago, long before Swords Keep was built. Tell me more about this ranger. Many elves claim mastery of the bow, but according to legend, Reluvethel was favored by Solanor Delandira himself. He could send an arrow from a mountaintop that would find the eye of an orc in the valley. He was lost like many elven heroes in the Weeping War, perishing at the hands of the dread Yugoloth in the siege of Glabradath. His tomb, it is said, lies somewhere in the wood. If that is true, it is almost certainly protected. Tell me a bit about the folk of Drawn Swords. You have probably already met most of the important people in town. Hamfast, our smith and de facto leader, Danmar, and Ianth the paladin. Besides Hamfast, there are 2 merchants in town. Odin Estercord sells curiosities, some of which are quite valuable. And then there's Hezro, over in yonder corner. Hezro's not a very honest fellow, but he has wares that adventurers like you sometimes need. That must be this guy up here, I suppose. Last and perhaps least are the men of Saren's Swords, an old militia company. They don't get much done these days, especially because of the presence of true warriors like Rebellion, me, and Mistress Ianth. Farewell. So, alright, these are the guys in the cloaks they're talking about. Yeah, here's Hezro, peddler. Alright, let's talk to these guys in cloaks next. Melancourt, a volunteer.
Pleased to see you.
And nothing spectacular from them. Let's look at these guys in this corner here before we go see Hezro. Who's this guy? Vosovich. Dershin. Lydia.
I greet you.
And Raleigh.
I greet you.
Nothing crazy to say from them. Alright, we do have a locked door up here behind the barkeep. And that's the exit. So let's go ahead and see what Hezro's got here. Hello, I am Hezro. What can I do for you? Tell me more about your wares. I sell tools. Tools of a certain trade. Looking at Roman. You, sir, look like the kind of customer who could benefit from my wares. Am I wrong? Me? What makes you think so? The clever mustache. But please, let us do business. Where do you come from? Triel. Not that it matters. This does not seem like an ideal place to sell such goods. It isn't. Danmar has given me leave to stay here cheap. Though, and peddle my wares as to guests. It suits me for now. Let's see what you have to sell. Alright, so he's got some standard non-magic weapons. Oh, he's got a Masterwork Scimitar. And let's see, no armor. Potion to aid, antidote, and bless. No trinkets. He does have some traps, some thieves' tools, and torches. Okay, so that should be about it. And nothing I really need from him. So, and just so you know, I do have just over 1,600 gold. So if we need to spend any money, we do have some to spend. Alright, so let's head on outside.